Hello, this is a special gift to Lauren from Duncan, your brother. My name is Laurie, and I'll be guiding you in today's balance class. It's a combination of yoga and balance moves that I've created for you on behalf of Duncan, and it's a pleasure to meet you. This is a unique video that is only accessible by you unless you care to share it with others. So Lauren, we're about the same age. I'm 60 years old as well, and 63 in fact, and I'll be going through some of the poses that I feel that have really helped me with my balance, and I hope you can use them. There'll be 2 sessions. They'll be 25 minutes each, and as you can see, I have a few props here. The first prop is called a block. So anything that's blockish will do. You don't need a block. The second thing is a strap. You could use a belt or a cord or something that, a robe, sash, anything that you could use to support you. And of course, I'm on the chair. The first part of this session will be devoted to creating core strength and opening the hips, using the chair to open the hips, and working the ankle joints. These are all very important aspects of balance. So I hope you enjoy, and thank you, Duncan. So the first thing is find a chair and come to the edge of the chair, have your sit bones on the edge of the chair, and start to close the eyes. And notice the pressure points on the sit bones on the chair. And we're just going to work a little bit with balance here, just in terms of the sitting balance. And I want you to rock forwards, bringing the head and the shoulders forward. So you're still sitting on the chair, but you're feeling the weight of the body come forward into the feet and the ankles. Sit back, feel the weight come back into the sit bones. Try that back and forth several times, starting to become aware of the sensitivity of the shift of balance between the sit bones and the feet. And over time, as you develop confidence, you can start to really bring the head a long way forward over the knees, starting to be aware of that balance point. And then come back. So this is just an exploration of balance. And often the biggest turning point for people is when they cannot get on and off a chair easily. This is when they need to take more care. So what I want you to do is make sure and look down at your feet and make sure the feet are a little bit back from the knees. They need to be a little bit back from the knees, so when you stand, when you come off the chair, you'll find yourself in exactly the right position. For instance, if the feet are a long way in front of the knees, there's no way you can come to a standing position off the chair, because the center of balance is way behind the feet, way behind the knees. Bring the feet a little bit closer to the chair than the knees, and start to feel the weight come up. Continue this back and forth motion, and if it's possible, take the hands and bring the hands to the edges of the chair, and the next time you come forward, lift the sit bones 1 or 2 inches off the ground. Notice the sensations you feel in the quadriceps, the legs, the knees, and the hips. Exhale, slowly come back without plopping. So in this little exercise of coming forward and lifting the sit bones, feeling the weight pressing down into the feet, and also being stable with the chair, you start to get a sense of the strength it takes for us to stand. Come back to that back and forth motion. And the reason I'm going into such particulars coming on and off a chair is because many people lose their balance coming on and off a chair because they're not using the center of balance correctly. For instance, you may have seen old people, when they come off a chair, they'll twist. And if you notice when I twist, you can probably notice how my knees are unstable, my hips are unstable, and this creates a very likely scenario of losing balance. However, when the knees are hip-width distance apart, which is approximately 2 fists between the thighs, the feet are hip-width distance apart. When you come up, there's a stability, there's a stableness, a balance. At the same time, Lauren, what's happening is we're creating core strength. We're building core strength to enable us to be able to stand. And so now you can see I'm not even using my hands on the chair, I'm using my hands on the leg. As I come down, I'm not plopping, I'm slowly coming down using control of the strength in my legs and my abdominals and lower back. At any time you feel what I'm going through is too much, too quick, just pause and just practice some of these skills because they're all designed sequentially to contribute to good balance, improving balance, and maintaining balance. The next time you come forward, hands are either on the chair, on the knees, or out in front. Slowly stand up. So here we have the balanced position, and I want you to take a moment to look down at the feet. We want the feet to be parallel. Not out, not in, but parallel. And while they're parallel, you've got the chair behind you. I want you to gently rock forward and backwards. And feel how the weight transfers from the ball of the foot to the back of the foot. Ball and back. Now can you lift your toes? And as you lift your toes, you may feel an intensity in the arch of the foot, the inner arch. That intensity is how active we like to create the feet in order for good balance. Lower the toes. Now start to squeeze the glutes, squeeze the buttocks, and as you do, you'll feel your legs become very strong. The kneecaps will lift, the calf muscles will activate, the quadriceps and hamstrings all activating. And this is all good for our balance. Just feeling that strength in the legs. The hips are neutral, they're not sticking back, so I'm not leaning forward and I'm not leaning back. My ears are over the shoulders, shoulders over the hips, hips over the knees, knees over the ankles. So get used to just that standing position of balance. Active feet, strong legs, hips neutral, ears over shoulders, so we have this sense of balance. When our posture is hunched forward, it's harder to balance. So we work on this balance. How do you work on the balance? You take the hands and you spiral the thumbs outwards, and this is going to improve your balance. It's creating a stretch across the chest, across the shoulders. It's opening the chest. Shoulder blades are squeezing, so it's creating a slight back bend, but our balance, our alignment is improving and making balance easier. Now to sit down, I know the chair is behind me. The habit many of us have is to turn and look to see where the chair is. Rather than turn, which creates an imbalance, you take the hands and you push the hips backwards, and then you bring the hands down to feel the chair. Hips are back, look back between the legs, and then slowly lower down without plopping. So again, what you are doing, Lauren, is cultivating core strength in order to support your balance. Core strength will support your balance. The next part of the series is I want you to lean back into your chair for a moment, and if it's possible, to lift one leg up so the ankle is resting on your thigh. If that's not possible, Duncan will let me know, but what I want you to do is start to investigate the ankle joint. The ankle joint is responsible for something like 47% of our balance. So it's really important that we take care of the ankle joint. So I'm going to show you a couple of ways to do that. The first way is to bring it up into this figure 4. Bring one hand onto the foot, and you can start to rotate the feet about the ankle joint. So we're creating synovial fluid in that ankle joint. It's a ball and socket joint. It moves in 6 different directions. This is the first direction, rotation. Opposite rotation, reversing the rotation, is direction number 2. Direction number 3 is to pull the toes down towards the sole of the foot. So you're creating this big stretch at the top of the foot, top of the ankle, into the shin. Very important stretch. The feet need to be attended to. Opposite stretch, so that's called pointing the toe, flexing the toe, bringing it back. Now the last 2 directions is simply to move the foot left and right like a windshield wiper, left and right. Now you can pause the tape at any time to do this on the other foot. I'm going to remove this foot and show you an alternative way to do those same movements without having to use the hands or create the figure 4. So taking my left leg, I'm going to pick up the thigh and hold the thigh. I can lean back into the chair, and I'm going to extend the foot and then point and flex the foot back and forth. Point and flex. This is also good for building core strength and upper body strength. Point and flex, first 2 directions. The second 2 directions, left and right windshield wiper. You may have heard a crack then. That was what's called crepitus, which often cracks in the joints. No, it's not a problem as long as there's no pain. And then start to turn the foot in a revolution. First one direction, and then the other, and then lower down. So there's 2 different methodologies for working the ankle joint. One is figure 4, using the hand. The other is lifting the foot and using your core strength to hold it up. So now that the ankle joints are primed, we can start to work on some more challenging balance poses. Again, at any time you want to turn the movie off, I guess we'll call it, on YouTube, it gives you a chance just to work on each one of these. All right, lean forward, feel the balance come into the feet. Lift the sit bones. Remember, hands can be on the chair, they can be on the knees, they can be out here, which is the most challenging, creates the most weight. Slowly stand up. Float the hands down beside you. Spiral the thumbs out. Lift the toes. Feel the arches activate. Lower the toes, but keep the arches of the feet activated and strong. Squeeze the glutes, the buttocks, and feel your legs become strong, developing the muscle. Hips are neutral, ribs are lifted, but shoulders are relaxed. Thumbs spiral back to open the chest, ears come back over the shoulders. Now we're in our most stable position in yoga called mountain pose. Stable. So it's a very stable pose. Again, if you want to even practice your balance, you can sway from side to side gently and come forward and backwards. All right. So we're going to play with the balance poses a little bit. I'm going to use the chair as a prop. So you can have a chair beside you ready to go, and we'll use the back of the chair as our prop. All right. So balance is obviously, as we walk, we're always having one foot in the air. Let's lift one foot. Hand is stable, holding the chair, and then lower. Now this again is developing core strength, and it's also training the standing foot to take responsibility for the weight. You've got the chair here as a support. This is developing core strength. The standing leg is strong, the foot is active, the buttocks is clenching, so you've got that nice gluteal strength. The body is maintaining, and you can hold that knee up as long as you like, and over time what you'll find, Lauren, is you'll be able to stand longer and longer. Exhale, lower. Take a rest, close the eyes, notice your breathing. So our next balance pose will be lifting that knee of the foot that's further from the chair and then opening it out to the side and then back again and down. Notice I'm holding the chair the whole time. This will give you the confidence to be able to just feel these shifts of balance left and right. As you develop, and in the second video I will do some more poses where we let go of the chair just to work on the balance. But for now, we want the chair there to really develop this strength of the legs lifting and lowering, and feel what it's like to take the weight into one foot. Notice I'm moving slowly. Slowing it down actually makes it more difficult because I don't have the momentum to create balance. I have to use my core strength, my leg, and opening. Now that's a lot of opening, that's a lot of work on that standing legs. So we're going to rest that leg, use the other leg. I'm going to bring the chair to the other side. Standing leg, strong. Standing leg is close to the chair. Start by lifting the knee and noticing the weight that pours down into that standing leg. Now series 2 is I'm going to start to open the hip out and back and down. Try that 4 or 5 times. Lifting up, opening to one side, and returning. 3, 2, last one. As you land, release the hand on the chair, come into tadasana. Check that the feet are parallel, active feet, arches lifting, and then feel the glutes, the buttocks gripping So you feel a clenching in the buttocks, and that will strengthen the legs. Lifting the kneecaps without locking them. Hips are neutral. Shoulders are back. Thumbs are spiraled out. Ears over the shoulders. There's our balance point. All right. So at any time, again, once you feel you've done enough, turn the video off and you can always come back to this point. All right. So the next one, I'm going to bring the chair over to the other side. And I want you to take a step forward with that outside leg. So the inside leg is close to the chair. And all we're going to do is to come up onto the ball of the back foot and then back onto the heel. The hips are square. The legs are on railroad tracks, so they're not on a tightrope. So just check your legs have a little distance apart, a little separation. And then notice as you come forward, you come onto the ball of the foot. So we're creating ankle flexibility here. And we're moving that ankle joint, coming onto the ball and back onto the heel. And make any adjustments that you like. And now as you rock back, start to lift that front foot so the toes come up, the heel remains on the ground. The back knee bends a little bit to create the center of gravity. So you're creating a bigger rock backwards and forwards. This is working the ankle joints. It's reminding the body about balance. And then come to stillness beside the chair. Let's try the other side. Step that outside foot forward, backside foot, and just rocking and coming onto the ball of that back foot. So you feel new sensations. Some of the sensations might be a little uncomfortable at first. What's a good idea is definitely to work in the pain-free range of motion. So anything that's painful, don't do it. Modify. And I would recommend that you practice this in bare feet as much as you can. If you have socks on, make sure the socks are not on a slippery floor. And I call the range of sensation that you want to be feeling delicious discomfort. Delicious discomfort. So discomfort is fine, but you don't want it to turn into pain. I'm starting to lift the toes of that front foot as I come back. Lift the heel of the back foot as I come forward. And just getting that sense. All right, so we're coming now into our peak pose. And after our peak pose, we're going to talk about the breath. So our peak pose is called Warrior 3. So bring the chair onto one side of the body. Again, the hand is on the back of the chair. And this time, step back with that outside foot, but as you do, bring the head forward. You can bring one hand on the hip, the other hand on the chair, and as the head comes forward more, lift that back foot up. When we lift the back foot up and the head comes forward, we create a pivot over the standing leg, over the hip, creating a balance point. So the standing leg is straight, it's strong, the hips are square, my back toes are pointing down to the ground, and my head and leg are starting to come into alignment. Now you might be at a stage like this, where the head to the toe is more like an angle rather than parallel to the ground. For a little more core strength, you can always extend that arm that's on the same side as the raised leg. That's going to create more core strength. Slowly come back. Stabilize yourself. Feet parallel. Feet active. Legs strong. Hips neutral. Shoulders roll back so you feel that outside arm spiral out. Close the eyes and notice your breath. So that's a big workout. That's called Warrior 3 in yoga. It's one of the more demanding balance poses. And then we're going to bring the chair to the other side and do the same thing on the other side. Standing beside the chair, the outside leg is going to come back as the head comes down. That outside leg is starting to lift. The head is coming down. And I'm going to turn sideways just to give you a demonstration sideways, how it looks. Back leg comes back. Head comes down. Back foot lifts. Ideally, we're trying to get this parallel line between the head and the heel of the foot. Takes a lot of core strength. Using the chair for balance. At some point, you may be able to bring that hand forward. But you want to do all your yoga bit by bit. There is no race. Slowly lift the head. Bring that foot back. And we're going to take a seat again. Let's sit consciously. Let's sit using core strength. Chair is behind me. I'm going to resist the temptation to turn and look, but I will bend the knees, push the hips back. Keep pushing the hips back. I will feel for the chair. If I want to check the location visually, look between the legs and then slowly sit without plopping. Ha! Well, Jean, this is coming to the end of our first session. There was a lot in it, a lot to digest. But I guarantee if you practice these moves over time, you will notice big improvements in your balance. You will feel more confident. You will start to be able to do things that maybe you weren't certain that you could do before. At the end of our yoga session, I like to come into some reflection, some introspection, some breath. So close the eyes. Relax the sit bones into the chair. Breathing in through the nose, out through pursed lips. And then start to slow the breath down. Let each new breath become a little more gentle. Inhaling through the nostrils. Exhaling through pursed lips. Focusing your attention on the breath, the sensations you feel. Breathing in through the nose, out through pursed lips. And gently open the eyes. Let the hands rub the thighs and come over the knees. And in the next session, we'll look at more balancing poses. We'll also look at the 6 directions of the spine and how to use breath to help us balance. How to use breath and what we call the dristi point, or using the eyes on a fixed point for breath. So Jean, it's been a pleasure working with you. I hope this is helpful. I hope it's a practice that you can use over time. And thank you, Duncan.